This is topic 13-1, surface areas of right prisms. Here are a few definitions. Lateral area of a prism.
The lateral area of a prism is the sum of the areas of the lateral faces.
All right, so this demonstration will explain exactly what lateral area is.
The lateral area of the prism is the total area of its lateral faces. Suppose the perimeter of the base is P, and the height is H. You can unfold a prism to form a rectangle. Notice that the perimeter of the base of the prism is equal to the base of the rectangle, and that the heights are the same. The lateral area of the prism and the area of the rectangle are equal. So the lateral area of the prism equals the base of the rectangle times the height of the rectangle. Remember, the base of the rectangle equals the perimeter of the base of the prism, and the height of the rectangle is the same as the height of the prism. So the lateral area of the prism equals the perimeter of its base P times its height H.
All right, so this is what the formula looks like in words, and this is what it looks like with just the variables. When I write it, you will see me just put LA equals P times H instead of the dots. Now, in 6th grade, you find the surface area of nets. So you don't use formulas, but you will still get the exact same answer. So normally in 6th grade, you will find the area of this, and then you will find the area of this, and then you would add it all together. But if you fold this out, the perimeter of the base is the same as the base of this. So if you find the perimeter of this, and then you multiply it by the height, it will give you the area of this entire thing. So you don't have to decompose it and then add together at the end. The next key concept is surface area of a prism.
The surface area of a prism is the sum of the lateral area and the areas of its bases.
So the surface area is just the area of the entire three-dimensional shape, and this is going to break it down for you.
The surface area of a prism equals the lateral area plus 2 times the area of a base, or SA equals LA plus 2 times B.
All right, I want you to think, why are we multiplying the area of the base by 2? Well, that answer is simple. In prisms, you have 2 bases. So let's just consider this our base. So this is base 1, and this is the second base. So if you find the area of one base, you just multiply by 2, and then it will give you the area of both of those. So this is the formula in words. The surface area is the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. This is how it will look if you write it as an equation. You'll see me write just SA equals LA plus 2 times capital B. It's very important that you notice that this is a capital B. Capital B means area of the base. Make sure you do not get that confused with a lowercase b, and we'll go over what lowercase b is a little later. The next key concept is surface area of a cube.
The surface area of a cube is the sum of the areas of the faces of the cube.
Here's an example of why your formula will work.
Suppose you have a cube with side length S. Each face of the cube is a square. The area of a square is the side length. Since the cube has 6 faces, its surface area is 6 times the area of a face. So the surface area of a cube equals 6 times S squared.
All right, so this is the surface area of a cube in words. Surface area equals 6 times the area of a face. So if you find the area of just one face, you multiply by 6 because a cube has 6 equal sides. You'll see me write it as SA equals 6 times S squared, and this is pretty easy. all you have to do is know the side length, you substitute it in, you square it, and multiply it by 6. So that's pretty easy, and that's very similar to 6th grade. So when you fold it out like a net, you find the area of one square. A cube has 6 sides, and you just multiply that by 6. Part 1 example.
Which rectangular prisms have a surface area of 54 square feet?
All right, so the good thing about rectangular prisms is it doesn't matter what you use as the base. You can use the bottom as the base. So here the dimensions for this will be 9 by 2. Or you could use the side as the base. And the dimensions for this will be a 3 by 2. So rectangular prisms, doesn't matter which one you use as the base. So in this example, I'm going to use the side as my base. And I'm going to draw the picture just so we can visually see what it looks like. So the base of that will be 2 and the height will be 3. So the first thing I'm going to do is write my formula to find the area of the base. So area of the base is equal to the area. So we have to find the area. So what I highlighted in blue and what I wrote over here, that is our base. So what shape is that base? Well, that's a rectangle. And what is the formula for area of a rectangle? It is base times height. So remember I mentioned something about a lowercase b. Lowercase b means base. Capital B, that means area of the base. So now I'm going to substitute in the information. Now you'll hear me say, what is the base of the base? So just think about what the base is. Think of the dimensions. Here we have 2 by 3. And then if I say, what's the base of the base? Well, the base of this is 2. And then the height of the base, so think of the height of this rectangle, it is 3. So the area of that base will be 6, and that's feet squared. So I find the area of the base. Now I need to find the lateral area. So lateral area equals the perimeter of the base times the height of the prism. So the perimeter of the shape, remember, it's just what it is around, adding up all the sides around. So here, you're going to add up all of these sides. We know that's 2, that's a 3. We have 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 2 plus 3, that would equal 10. So the perimeter of the base will be 10. Now the height of the prism, we have to think about the distance between the two bases. So here's our other base. What is the distance between those two bases? Well, if we look here, in this case, it will be 9. So then we have to do 10 times 9, which is 90, and we know that's feet squared. Now we're going to put this all together and we're going to find the surface area. So the formula for surface area is surface area equals lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. Now we already have our information. So all we have to do is substitute. We're going to substitute in 90 for the lateral area. And then for area of the base, we're going to substitute in 6. I'll use my units last. Now we have to do 2 times 6, which is 12. And then we're just going to add 90 plus 12, that's 102. And that will be feet squared. So with this one, it will be surface area is not equal to 54 feet squared. Now the second one, this is not a rectangular prism. This shape is actually a cube. So we're going to use the formula that we learned for the surface area of a cube. So surface area equals 6 times side length squared. So this one is very easy. All you have to do is find the side length where all of them are 3. So we're going to substitute in 3 and then we're going to square that. So remember, exponents first. 3 squared is 9 and 6 times 9 is 54. And don't forget your units, that is feet squared. So the cube does equal 54 feet squared. Now the third rectangular prism, I'm going to use the bottom as my base this time. Now you can use the side as your base, it doesn't matter, but I use the side for this base, so I'm going to switch it up. We're still going to use the same formulas. First, I'm going to write what my shape will look like. My base of this will be 3 and the height will be 2. So we're going to find the area of the base. So capital B equals A, and then we have to find what the formula for area of a rectangle is, which is just base times height. So the base of the base, or the base of this, will be 3, and then the height will be 2. So the area of the base will be 6, and that's feet squared. Now I have to find the lateral area. So lateral area equals perimeter of the base times the height of the prism. Now I'm going to figure out what the perimeter of the base is. Again, to find perimeter, you're just adding up all the sides. 3 plus 5, 3 plus 2 is 5, times 2 is 10, so the perimeter of the base is 10. Now the height of the prism, remember, that's the distance between the two bases. The height of the prism is the distance between the two bases. So here I outline my two bases, and the distance between that is 4 and 1/5. Now you could change that to an improper fraction, which will be 21/5. And go ahead and change this to a fraction as well, just to make it easier. Now, some of you probably want to change it to a decimal. That's absolutely fine as well. But I like to change things to improper fractions. So cross simplify 5 and 10. 5 becomes 1 and 10 becomes 2 because they're both divisible by 5. Now I multiply straight across. 2 times 21 is 42. So the lateral area is 42 feet squared. Now we're going to tie it all together, write our surface area formula. Surface area equals lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. Now I'm going to substitute in 42 for the lateral area. And for the area of the base, I'm going to substitute in 6. And then I have to make sure I multiply 2 times 6, which is 12. And then I'm going to go ahead and add 42 plus 12, which is 54. And do not forget your units. So there's 54 feet squared for this one here, the third one. All right, the last one. I'm going to figure out the surface area of this. It doesn't matter if you use the bottom as your base. So if you use the bottom as your base, it will be a 6 by 1. But if you use the side as your base, then those dimensions will be a 1 by 9. You will still get the exact same answer. All right, so I went ahead and solved this problem as if 6 by 1 was the base. So our area of the base will be 6 feet squared. The lateral area will be 126 feet squared because the perimeter of the base will be 14. Again, perimeter, you add up all of the sides. 6 plus 1 is 7. And then if you multiply that by 2, you get 14. And then the height of the prism, so if I use these two as the base, then the height or the distance between that will be 9. So then I had to combine all of that, and I ended up with the surface area as 138 feet squared. All right, I went ahead and completed this as if the side was our base. So this will be our dimensions, 1 by 9. The area of the base will be 1 times 9, which is 9 feet squared. And then the lateral area, well, the perimeter of the base, you do 9 plus 1 and then multiply that by 2. So the perimeter of the base will be 20. The height of the prism, so again, the distance between these two bases, so here, those are the two bases I use, and then the distance between those two will be 6. So the lateral area will be 120 feet squared. Now we use our surface area formula, combine everything, and we end up with the surface area as the exact same thing we got before, 138 feet squared. And this is not equal to 54 feet squared. Part 1, got it.
What is the surface area of a cube with edge length of 3/4 of a foot?
When you solve this, do not change it to a decimal. Just write the formula, substitute, and simplify. Leave it as a fraction or a mixed number. So first, we're going to write the surface area formula for a cube, which is surface area equals 6 times side length squared. So this is pretty easy. All you have to do is know the side length, which is 3/4, and make sure you square that. So remember 3/4 squared is not the same as 3/4 times 2. So I'm going to go ahead and square 3/4 over here. That means 3/4 times 3/4, and multiply straight across. We get 9/16. So now I'm going to change 6 to a fraction and then multiply it by 9/16. Now I'm going to cross simplify to make this a little bit easier. 6 and 16 are both divisible by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Now you can multiply straight across. 3 times 9 is 27, and then put that over 8. So now you can change that to a mixed number. 8 goes into 27 3 times, and we have 3/8 left over. And don't forget your units. So the correct answer is 3 3/8 feet squared. Part 2, example.
Ms. Adventure went on a trip around the world. In the Netherlands, she tasted Dutch cheese. The piece of cheese has the shape of a triangular prism. How much surface area is there for mold to grow on?
All right, first we have to think about what type of shape this is. I don't want you to get this confused with a pyramid. This is a prism because it has 2 bases. So think about what shape is only 2. Well, in this case, it is a triangle. So this is a triangular prism. Here is our triangle right here. Now we're going to find the area of the base. So capital B, which means the area of the base, is equal to area. So think about what the shape of the base is, and think about what that formula is. Well, this is a triangle. So the formula for area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Now remember in 6th grade where you learned about rectangles? So the formula for area of a rectangle is base times height. But let's say you get half of that. Well, half of that makes a triangle. So that's why that formula 1/2 base times height works for area of a triangle. All right, now we're going to substitute in the information. So the base of the base. So look at the triangle. What is the base of that triangle? Well, the base of the triangle would be 10. And then we have to think, what is the height of the base? Or what is the height of that triangle? So just look at the triangle, take away all of the rest of it, and think about the height. So the height of this triangle, it has an arrow pointing right to it. It's 14 1/10. So 14 1/10 centimeters is the height. Now you can go ahead and multiply this however you want to. I am going to do 10 times 14 1/10. And I know that is 141. Now I'm just going to get half of 141. You can do standalone division, and it will look like 141 divided by 2. So that will be 70 5/10. And I know that's centimeters squared because we're talking about area. Now we have to find the lateral area. The formula for lateral area of a prism is lateral area equals perimeter of the base times the height of the prism. Now we have to figure out the perimeter of the base. So if we look here, think about the dimensions of this. So we look at this piece, that is equal to 10. Then we look here, this is equal to 15. And then the last part here, that is also equal to 15. So the perimeter of the base, you add up all of the sides, that is 30 plus 10 more, that is equal to 40. So the perimeter of the base is equal to 40. Now we have to figure out the height of the prism. So again, the height of the prism is the distance between the two bases. So here's my two bases, and then the distance between those two will be 6 5/10. Now we're going to go ahead and multiply. 40 times 6 5/10, that is equal to 260, and that is centimeters squared. Now we have to go ahead and tie all of that information together. We're going to find the surface area. So that will be surface area equals lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. We already have the information, so all we have to do is substitute. The lateral area is 260, and then the area of the base will be 70 5/10. Now I'm going to go ahead and multiply 2 times 70 5/10, which is 141. And then I'm going to add 260 to that, which is 401. And don't forget your units, centimeters squared. So our answer is here. There's a surface area of 401 centimeters squared for mold to grow on. Part 2, got it.
What is the surface area of the triangular prism?
In math, base doesn't always mean the bottom. A prism has two bases. The bottom of this triangular prism is a rectangle, but its bases are the triangular faces.
All right, so here, this is a triangular prism. You have to make sure you know what the bases are. So look for the thing that only has two. There's only two triangles. Do not always assume that whatever's at the bottom, that's the base. That's not true. Here, there's only two triangles. So that will be the base. It's a triangular prism. Now we look here, I'm going to draw this here. The dimensions of this will be 4, 3, and 5. So we're going to find the area of the base first. The formula for that base is 1/2 base times height, because that is a triangle. Now the base of the base, so look at this triangle. What is the base of this triangle? Well, the base of that triangle is 4. Now the height of the base, or the height of this triangle, will be 3. Now you can go ahead and multiply. 4 times 3 is 12, and half of 12 is 6. So the area of the base will be 6 meters squared. Now we have to go ahead and find the lateral area. So the formula for lateral area of a prism is lateral area equals perimeter of the base times the height of the prism. So if we're looking at this base, the triangle, to find the perimeter, you add up all the sides. So 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 3 more is 12. So the perimeter of the base is 12, and then the height of the prism, again, is the distance between the two bases. So here, that's our two bases, and then the distance between that will be 7. So we're going to substitute in 7 for the height of the prism. Now all you do is multiply 12 times 7, which is 84. So the lateral area is equal to 84 meters squared. Now we're going to tie all of that information into our surface area formula, which is surface area equals the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. So I'm going to substitute in 84 for the lateral area, and then for the area of the base, that will be 6. Now I'm going to multiply 6 times 2, which is 12, and then I'm going to go ahead and add 84 plus 12, which is 96, and don't forget your units. So this is our final answer, 96 meters squared. Part 3, intro.
When a base of a prism is a regular polygon, you can decompose the polygon to find its area. You can decompose a regular hexagon into 6 equilateral triangles. The 6 triangles are the same size. After you find the area of one triangle, you can multiply the area by 6 to find the area of the entire hexagon.
All right, again, so that's very important to know. We're going to use this throughout the rest of the topic. whenever we have to find the area of a hexagon, just decompose it to 6 equilateral triangles. And then you just multiply by the area of one triangle. Let's just say the area of this one triangle is 10 meters squared. So if the area of that one triangle is 10 meters squared, the area of the entire hexagon will just be 10 times 6, which is 60 meters squared. So that will be the area of the entire hexagon. Part 3, example.
Miss Adventure wants to make a box like one she saw in Japan. She plans to cover the box with paper. The box has the shape of a regular hexagonal prism. To the nearest square inch, how much paper does Miss Adventure need to cover the box?
Most math problems don't say directly what formula or calculation to use to answer the question. In this situation, one measurement of the box may be more useful than another. It depends on what you need. To cover the area of a surface, you want to know the surface area, not the volume. The fact the problem asks for square inches is another clue to calculate the surface area.
All right, so this particular question doesn't say what is the surface area of the box. It gives us hints. It said Miss Adventure needs to cover the box. So we're trying to cover around it. Just think about wrapping paper. That is the surface area. Another tip is square inches. So we know that surface area is in square inches for this particular problem. All right, first thing I'm going to do is identify the base, which is this hexagon here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a hexagon. Hexagon has 6 sides, and remember what we just learned. To find the area of a hexagon, you're going to decompose into 6 equilateral triangles. So we have to figure out the base of this one triangle. So if we look here, this 3 inches, that will be the same as the base. Now, if we look here, that 2 6/10 will be the height of this triangle. So now we can go ahead and find the area of the base. Capital B equals A. And now remember the area of the base is a hexagon. So the formula for a hexagon, well, we know the formula for one triangle, which is 1/2 base times height, but we had to decompose it into 6 equilateral triangles. So that would be the area of this base. Now I'm going to go ahead and substitute. So the base of the base, or the base of the one triangle, so look here, we're talking about this one triangle. What is the base of that triangle? Well, the base of that triangle is 3. Now the height of the base, or the height of that one triangle, is 2 6/10. Now you can multiply this however you want to. I can go ahead and do 3 times 2 6/10, which will be 7 8/10. And then if you get half of that, that will be 3 9/10. So 3 9/10 will go here. And then you go ahead and multiply that by 6. And you will end up with 23 4/10. And don't forget your units, that's inches squared. So that is the area of the base. That's the area of the entire hexagon. Now we have to find the lateral area. Lateral area equals perimeter of the base times the height of the prism. So the base is a hexagon. So the side length of the hexagon is 3. You can add 3 6 times, or you could just do 3 times 6, which is 18. So the perimeter of the base will be 18. Now the height of the prism, or the distance between the two bases, will be 4. So 18 times 4 is 72. And don't forget your units, that's inches squared. Now we can tie all of that together and find the surface area. Surface area equals the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. We are going to substitute in 72 for the lateral area, and for the area of the base, 23 4/10. 23 4/10 times 2 will be 46 8/10. And then you're going to go ahead and add 72 to that, which will be 118 and 8/10. And don't forget your units, inches squared. But remember, it said round to the nearest square inch. So that means to the ones place, round here. So you have to look at that 8, 5 or more, raise the score, 4 or less, let it rest. So this will be approximately 119 inches squared for our surface area. Part 3, got it.
To the nearest square inch, what is the surface area of the regular hexagonal prism?
Remember, with this problem, you have to decompose the hexagon into 6 equilateral triangles, find the area of the base, find the lateral area, and then you're going to add it all together. The correct answer is 116 inches squared. So here's the steps.